Hey everyone, here I am with the new Apple Pencil Pro. And in my last video, I used this as an example of a throwaway tech product, a product that cannot be repaired or serviced in any way. If you get any issues with the battery in this, then if you're within your 1 year warranty, you'll get a replacement. Outside of that, you have a very pretty paperweight. But today what I'd like to talk about is Pencil Pro compatibility. This is an issue that has frustrated a lot of Apple users. So this is the new Apple Pencil. It's called the Apple Pencil Pro, and it works with the new iPad Air and it works with the new iPad Pro, but it doesn't work with older iPads. And conversely, many of the older pencils will not work with the new iPads that have just been released. Now, I will say in Apple's defense, there is a reason for this compatibility issue arising. On older iPads, the camera, this is the older 2017 iPad Pro, the camera was at the top in portrait mode, but now the camera is at the top in landscape mode. So what that means is previously you had the camera up here, in this area here, inside the iPad, you had magnets, you had hardware inside that allowed you to connect the pencil, to charge it up and to connect to your device and all that. But they've had to change it. So now we've got in this area here, we've got both the camera and the area where they have to have magnets to magnetically charge up and connect the Apple Pencil Pro. And the older pencils just can't do that. So they've had to change the hardware both inside the pencil and in the iPads themselves, which is why we've got this compatibility problem. Now, if we jump over to the Apple website, you'll see that there's 4 different pencils there. You've got the first generation, you've got USB-C, you've got the second generation, and then you've got the new Apple Pencil Pro. And over time, they've all got newer features, giving you new reasons to buy a newer pencil. But if you scroll up to the top here, you'll see the Apple Pencil Pro, and you'll see that it's compatible with the new iPad Pro with the M4 chip and the new iPad Air with the M2 chip, but it cannot be used with older iPads and iPad Pros and iPad Airs. Then you've got the second generation. This is probably closest to the Pencil Pro in that it charges wirelessly, not by USB Type-C, and you can see that it pretty much worked with most of the generations up until now, but not this year's iPad Pro and not this year's iPad Air. Then you've got the USB-C, which does actually work with the latest version. So this is the most compatible pencil at this time. And to me, that suggests that they knew they were going to make this change, so they prepared for it, or maybe I'm wrong, but this pencil is the one that's the most compatible by the looks of it. And you can see all the different versions that it's compatible with. And then finally, we have the very first generation Apple Pencil, and support for that is quite limited, but I suspect most people at this point have upgraded to one of these other options. Now, I can understand why some Apple users are frustrated. If you opted to buy the Apple Pencil second generation within the last year or two, you probably thought you were buying a pencil that's going to last you the next 4 or 5 years. But that's not the case, because really what you want to do is buy a pencil that's going to support you over multiple generations of your iPad if you change it every 2 or 3 years. But that's not going to happen here. If you've bought the second generation pencil, the Apple Pencil, it's not going to work with the new iPads. So if I was an Apple customer that bought the second generation Apple Pencil, I'd be a little bit annoyed. But I can see from a hardware perspective why they've had to do that. Changing the camera from the top there to the side here meant that they had to change things up. It's not ideal, but I think what I would have liked to have seen from Apple is maybe a heads up rather than wait to release day. I think it would have been good if maybe 6 months before they started letting people know, by the way, we're going to move the camera, maybe rethink the pencil that you're going to buy. But yes, I just wanted to share that with you. It's annoyed a lot of people. I'm not a big fan of tech being, kind of thrown away in this regard, but clearly they've had to change things up from a hardware perspective, which is why Apple have done that. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. So as always, leave a comment below and I'll do my best to get back to you. And until next time, take care.